In the winter of 1475, the Ottoman Empire marched north, confident it would crush a small principality and open the road into Central Europe. What awaited them wasn't just surrender, but a united land, but a land prepared to fight as one. Stephen of Moldavia watched from the heights, commanding an army far smaller than the one approaching him. Every slope, every crossing, and every breath of that chilly winter fog was made just for this moment. In the 15th century, Europe lived under constant pressure. To the south, the Ottoman Empire expanded with relentless momentum. Constantinople had fallen in 1453, and Ottoman armies now pushed deeper into the Balkans year after year. Kingdoms that resisted were defeated. Those that submitted paid tribute and slowly lost control of their lands. To many European rulers, the Ottomans appeared unstoppable, an empire that absorbed territory through force, intimidation, and patience. Each campaign brought them closer to the heart of the continent, and few believed a small frontier state could stand in their path for long. Moldavia was not rich, heavily fortified, or protected by powerful allies. Its strength lay in its position. The principality sat between the Ottoman Empire, the Kingdom of Hungary, and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Whoever controlled Moldavia controlled vital trade routes, river crossings, and the approaches into Central Europe. For the Ottomans, Moldavia was not just another border state, it was a gateway. And gateways, once opened, rarely closed again. Stephen the Great inherited a principality surrounded by stronger powers. He could not match their armies or their wealth. Instead, he ruled with caution. He negotiated when possible, paid tribute when necessary, and avoided open conflict unless survival demanded it. But Stephen also understood a dangerous truth. Empires rarely stop making demands. Each concession only invites another. And once an empire decides a land is no longer useful as an ally, it becomes a target. By the early 1470s, Ottoman demands on Moldavia had grown heavier. Tribute increased. Control of key ports along the Black Sea became a constant point of pressure. When Stephen resisted, Istanbul no longer saw negotiation, only defiance. Border clashes followed. Fortresses became flashpoints. By late 1474, diplomacy collapsed. The Ottoman leadership decided Moldavia had become a problem. And problems in an empire were meant to be eliminated swiftly. By late 1474, Stephen understood the invasion was no longer a possibility. It was inevitable. He just couldn't compete with the Ottomans. Their wealth and firepower were unmatched. What Stephen could do was prepare the land and the people for war. Winter wasn't going to hold back the Ottomans, so Stephen thought he'd put a stop to it. Stephen's strategy depended on denying the Ottomans everything they relied on. Villages near the southern frontier were evacuated quietly. Food stores were removed or destroyed. Wells were sealed. Roads through forests were altered or blocked. The goal was not destruction, but exhaustion. An army marching in winter without supplies weakens before battle even begins. Moldavia itself became an obstacle cold, empty, and hostile to anyone who did not know it intimately. The Moldavian population did not resist these measures. They understood what was at stake. For generations, they had lived between empires, adapting to danger as a way of life. Stephen had earned their trust through years of careful rule. Now that trust became a weapon. Peasants guided soldiers through hidden paths. Scouts reported enemy movement. Every forest, hill, and river bend carried information. The Ottomans would march blind. Moldavia would not. Stephen reorganized his forces for speed and flexibility. Light cavalry became central to his plan units, capable of striking quickly and vanishing into forests. Archers trained to fire from concealed positions. Small field guns were prepared for mobility rather than power. Even peasant levies were assigned roles that matched their strengths. This was not an army built to stand in open battle. It was an army built to survive winter, fog, and terrain. Stephen appealed to other Christian rulers for help. If Moldavia fell, the road into Hungary and Poland would lie open. The responses were cautious. Sympathy arrived faster than soldiers. Poland offered words. Hungary offered intentions. Neither sent troops. Stephen accepted the reality. Waiting for help would only delay preparation. Moldavia would stand alone or not at all. In early January 1475, the Ottoman army crossed into Moldavia, tens of thousands strong and confident of victory. Stephen did not meet them at the border. He withdrew, allowing the enemy to advance deeper with confidence. He drew them toward a narrow valley near Vaslui, shaped by marshes, frozen ground, and heavy winter fog. Before dawn on January 10th, the valley disappeared beneath a thick, frozen fog. Stephen's army was already in place. Thousands of Moldavian soldiers waited in total silence along the ridges and wooded slopes above the valley floor. Archers held their bows steady behind snow-covered earthworks. Cavalry units crouched beside their horses, hidden by trees and fog. No fires burned. No voices carried. The Ottomans, advancing in long columns, could hear movement but see nothing. The fog erased distance, direction, and certainty. Moldavia had become invisible. As the Ottoman columns moved deeper into the valley, a sound echoed through the fog. Moldavian war horns calling from multiple directions at once. The noise did not reveal positions. It multiplied confusion. Orders were shouted, then contradicted. Units slowed, then pressed forward again. The valley seemed alive with sound, yet empty of enemies. Stephen had waited for this moment. When the Ottomans were fully committed, he gave the signal to strike. Arrows fell first. Thousands of them fired from the ridges into tightly packed formations below. Shields rose, but visibility was too poor to locate the attackers. Moments later, Moldavian field guns opened fire. These were not heavy cannons, but small, mobile pieces placed to strike from concealment. Their blasts echoed through the fog, breaking formations and spreading panic. The Ottoman army, trained for disciplined movement, now struggled to react to an enemy it could not see. Then the Moldavian cavalry struck. Light horsemen charged out of the fog from unexpected angles, firing arrows and slashing before vanishing again. Attacks came from the flanks, then from the rear, then from both sides at once. Ottoman units attempted to regroup, but commands dissolved in the white haze. Discipline collapsed into instinct. What had entered the valley as an army now fought as scattered groups, reacting instead of commanding. When the Ottoman formations began to break, Stephen waited for certainty, then ordered the final advance. From the ridges, Moldavia's main force charged ahead, catching the confused enemy off guard. As Ottoman units tried to withdraw, frozen crossings turned into deadly bottlenecks. By midday, the invasion force no longer moved as an army, but as scattered survivors. When the fog finally lifted, the scale of the defeat became clear. Ottoman soldiers lay scattered across the frozen valley floor. Equipment was abandoned. Standards were gone. What had marched into Moldavia as a massive disciplined force had been shattered by terrain, preparation, and timing. Contemporary accounts describe the defeat as one of the most devastating the Ottoman Empire had suffered in the 15th century. For Moldavia, it was not just a victory. It was survival. Stephen did not allow reckless celebration. Moldavian units pursued retreating Ottoman soldiers only as far as safety allowed. Small, fast detachments monitored escape routes while the main force secured the battlefield. Stephen understood that discipline mattered as much after victory as before it. A careless pursuit could undo everything. The goal was not annihilation. It was ensuring the enemy could not regroup quickly or return with momentum. News of the battle spread rapidly. Courts that had ignored Stephen's earlier warnings now paid attention. Chroniclers in Poland recorded the victory with astonishment. In Rome, the Pope praised Stephen the Great as a defender of Christendom. Bells were rung in celebration, not because the Ottomans had been destroyed, but because they had been stopped. For the first time in years, Europe believed resistance was possible. The Battle of Vaslui did not end the Ottoman threat. The empire would recover and continue its expansion. But the battle changed calculations across the continent. It demonstrated that preparation, terrain, and leadership could overcome overwhelming numbers. Moldavia had bought time not only for itself, but for its neighbors. In the long struggle between empire and frontier states, Vaslui became a reminder that survival did not always belong to the strongest. History rarely turns on numbers alone. At Vaslui, preparation defeated power and terrain overcame empire. Stephen did not destroy the Ottoman Empire, but for one winter morning in 1475, he stopped it. So the question remains, was this victory a miracle, or proof that even empires can be broken by planning and resolve? Share your thoughts in the comments. And subscribe for more real history where strategy, not myth, decides the outcome.